Let's find Sonda real fast, Tiri. Real fast, real fast, real fast. Okay, what is going on, Tiri? I don't think there is an easy way to start this topic. You really just get into it and people will perceive it or understand it however they want to. Isn't it funny how much of our lives are spent caring a lot and a lot and a lot about what people have to think about us or what people have to say, to the extent that now that becomes what dictates how we go about our own lives. You know, it's something that has affected you at some point. It's definitely something that has affected me at some point. Probably even to this day, it's just it's a daily dance that you have to do to decide that, you know what, I am taking my life back and I'm actually capable to do what I want to do. The fear of being perceived, especially negatively, is is something that we experience as human beings all the time. And something that I like to tell myself nowadays is that the fact that let's say for example, I have worn a jacket for the second time. The fact that I have worn this jacket for the second time, it is never that big a deal is what I'm trying to go for. They won't lose sleep at night just because they were thinking of how I have reworn that jacket for the second time. And here's the thing, guys, when you crack the code, there is no going back, in the sense that when you come to understand the concept of sonda, let's look it up. Sonda by definition is the profound realization that every random passerby is living as vivid every random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own, complete with their own ambitions, friends, routines, and worries. Like, everyone has such a full life. You know, when you think of your life, all the nitty-gritties, all the big moments, the small moments, the wonderful moments, the horrible moments, everything, every single person that you come across has those kinds of moments. And you judging yourself or you not being able to do something because you're like, oh my god, they're gonna think of me like this. Let me tell you, they have so much more in their lives. They live such a full life, you know, is what we would like to think. They have so much more going on in their lives other than the fact that, like I said, niliva hiyo sweta for the second time. Like, please, everyone here is an adult, everyone here, kila mtu ako na mikono ya kuosha nguo yake, na unaweza vaa vile unaweza ivaa. Jacket ni yako ama si yako. That's what I usually tell myself. When you understand the concept of sonda, you will really be able to, you will really free yourself from people's opinions, because you come to realize that, you know what, yes, they may have an opinion of me, that's for sure, but it's really just like 10 minutes of their life, or even it's like 1 second of their life. How many times have you seen people in turn be like, wow, amechora eyebrows aje, wow, you know, hizo nini amevaa, but you really move on, you completely forget about them, unless maybe somebody else on TikTok brings them up or something like that. But like, basically, you forget about them, you know, you formed an opinion, you laughed about it, or whatever emotion came with it, and you moved right on. The second thing is that understanding people view things according to their mindset, in the sense that, let me use the example of digital creation, content creation, right? There's someone who will look at you trying to start content creation and be like, wow, that is so cringe. Like, why would they do something like that? That is so embarrassing. I personally would not put myself on the internet like that. Like, all these thoughts, all these negative things that would stop you. But it's not because it is about you. It is because they are projecting their insecurity on you, in the sense that they will hear you talking about, yeah, I know I can have 2,000 subscribers by the end of this 2 months. And they're like, ha, you're so funny, that's not possible. But it's because they have an insecurity that they cannot progress that fast. They cannot, like, beat the odds. They cannot be the ones who are getting, you know, like, the good things in life. So instead of like just internalizing that and having it to themselves, they also extend it to the people who are around them and be like, how dare you think that you're the one who can be successful? Like, what's that? There's that mindset. And then there's the other mindset of, wow, I really adore this person, or like, I am really in awe of this person for attempting to do something and putting themselves out there, because they understand about the high risk and high reward. They understand about being able. Hey, being able. Wacha. Anyway, they understand that for success to come, there are things that you are required to do, whether it is putting yourself out there, whether it is putting in the hours, whether it's all of these things. Now, this is the same situation, but it is viewed in very different ways, because these are people who have very different mindsets. Now, this is your situation, and uko hapa una depend on opinion ya kila mtu. Mind you, everyone has a different mindset, so you will never get them on the same page, because this one is saying it's that image of like a 6 and a 9, and then one is standing on this side, and then on this side, and he's like, that's a 9, and then there is like, that's a 6. they are right, both of them. It's just the matter of wako kwa angle gani, wanaangalia hiyo kitu from which side, which is the same thing. Like when people are telling you, how dare you do this, how dare you do that, it is, they're looking at it from their own perspective, whether it's from the 6 or the 9 perspective. No, you are the one who will decide whose opinion will you take. Number 3 is the understanding that you have one life. You only have one life. You only have this set of years that are set in front of you that obviously nobody knows how many they are, but like, you're not going to come back to do this. Some days I'm like, thank God, I don't want to do this again. But it's also very liberating in the sense that, for me, I am 24 right now. I'll never be 24 again. You know, if I need to do something at this 24, do it when you are this 24, right? Because when you reach 25, that's that. And the funny thing about adult life is that it moves so fast. It moves so fast. 1 minute you've said, oh, is it the way we usually have New Year's resolutions, and you're like, I'm gonna do this and this and this and this year, and then next thing you know, you're like, okay, it's January, let me just chill. Like, I'm just easing into the year. You know, January, it's like December still. Like, it's like December with the hangover. And then the next thing you know, you're in February, and then you're like, okay, now I can lock in. And then you start in February, and then halfway through, and you're like, maybe things come up, and then you're like, maybe I'll come back. Next thing you know, it is August. Next thing you know, we're in December, and we're in January again, and you're recycling the resolutions that you had from last year, and that has been you since 2016, hasn't? Yeah, so adult life moves very fast in the sense that if you can do something, if you have the capability to do something right now, you better sit down and plan and execute it right now, because the future really is so unknown in the sense that you will always be like, naweza amka kesho nifanye. Utaamka kesho kumenyesha, utaamka kesho hakuna stima, utaamka, like, there is so much that happens. The only thing that you can control right now is the now. If I can do it in the present, that is exactly what I am going to do, and I really try to work with that, because you postpone things and then kina kuramba huko mbele, and you're like, why didn't I do it yesterday? And mind you, yesterday is gone. Why didn't I do it when I was young? Your young years are gone. I saw this on TikTok. Is it the museum of failure or the gallery of trying? I like to think of it in the sense that how there are things that we have tried in our lives, right, that did not turn out very well. You expected it to have, like, never expected it. There are things in life that we have tried that ended up not turning out how we would have wanted them to. And I like to now ask myself nowadays, can I consider that a failure, or did I just pick up the lessons from it and keep it moving? Because honestly, the things that I have definitely wanted to do in the past, like, 2 years, that I thought would have worked out by now, which haven't. But even now I sit and I'm like, no, still the suffering was horrific. I didn't need that. But I still think of it and say, I definitely picked up some lessons from that. I definitely picked up more grit and more, like, strength, and more, like, now I can fight back. Now you can tell me something and I'll be like, oh no, it's okay. I will punch. I'm sorry. We kind of lost her in the moment. I don't know who that girl was. What I'm just trying to say is that, are you going to look at it as, oh my God, that was such wasted time and I never needed to do that? Or are you going to look at it as, you know what, I did try that. I am proud of myself for trying my hand in that area. It did not work out, and now we can move on from that. And you'll be surprised the number of things that you can, that you can apply in other things that, it's like maybe like coming from a train wreck and coming with, like, a, let's say, steering wheel. I don't know what is in the train. Let's say steering wheel, and then coming from another one, and like, it's having mementos of everything. It's having keepsakes from everything that you can come and put together, and it will be like such a beautiful gallery of all the things that you have tried. Yeah, I have come to be more open-minded even when it comes to, like, looking at other people's work, in the sense that some things they may not make sense to me, that's for sure. Some things I will look at people trying and I'm like, I don't know. But then again, I remind myself, shuka that high horse immediately, and just be like, that is them trying, that is them giving life a shot, that is them trying to earn something. And so I am in no place to be judging and be like, how dare they, like, that is so disgusting, that's so cringe, that's so this and that. Like, please let just people live their lives. Let people live their lives, because if it was you in that situation, you would want people to extend the same courtesy to you, right? So just generally, at the end of the day, you owe it to yourself to give the things that set your heart on fire, give them a shot, no matter what it looks like. Give it a shot and see where that goes, despite what people will be like, despite what the people will tell you and be like, yeah, I don't think this and that and this and that. And here's the thing, I am not trying to, like, now completely never listen to anyone and just do what you want. No, it's just the sense that also learn to, like, listen to things with a bucket of salt, because, like I've said, everyone speaks of things from their own experiences, from their own biases. People will stop you from doing something because maybe it didn't work out for them, which maybe you could learn from it for sure, but always, like, here it is very important to have a strong sense of self. Oh yeah, that's a topic for a whole other day. But having a strong sense of self and being like, okay, do I want this because this is what will please people, or do I want this because this is truly what I feel I am passionate about? This is what I was called to do. Like, really know what you want, and then now listen, and then I'll get now opinions of obviously the people that matter, the people that are wise, and then now the rest of it is like, ni sawa, hiyo ni story yenu, ni sawa, it's okay, you just say it and then we are going to move on. The next point is you are allowed to reinvent yourself as much as possible. When it comes to thinking about yourself, speaking for myself, I really thought I was going to be the same person all my life, which is it is such a funny thing that I thought the person that I was when I was graduating 2024 is the person that I will be when I'm going into the job market, the person I'll be when I get married, when I'll get kids and this and this. But in my 24 years of life, guys, I have been so humbled in the sense that I have learned, not even intentionally, I have not changed intentionally. Like, a lot of things have happened to the point that like you can just feel yourself changing just like that, like no reason, no reason, no will. It wasn't really my will, but it's just the number of things that I encountered do not leave me the same. And at first I used to see that like as a negative thing, but then now I have to accept it. Now I have to have like a more free sense of self, in the sense that like today I can be feeling like this, I can be believing this, I can be subscribing to this kind of thought pattern and whatnot, and then the next month I don't, and that is perfectly fine. Especially if there is a good reason to it, that is perfectly fine. Like you cannot be the same person that you were your whole life, and you have to be okay with that. You just work with what you have as you are right now. Yeah, so basically what I wrote is life happens, factors change, transitions require more of you or different sides of you, hence over time you change, and that's not always a bad thing. So it is okay to reinvent yourself. Let go of things that no longer work for you. Sometimes it sucks. Oh my god, sometimes it sucks. Let go of beliefs, whatever it is that does not work for you anymore. My most recent example, I have said it a lot on social media, is I let go of the belief that running is like terrible, running is horrific, running is, now I'm a runner. What do you know? And it is perfectly fine. Like, if you reach a point where you're like, you know what, I actually don't believe in that anymore, I actually kind of see the loopholes in that story, let that story go. People will ask you, hey, what happened to you? You used to subscribe to this. That is perfectly fine, but you don't believe in that, and that's that, you know? Like, you are not set in stone, my sister. You are not a tree. You're not stuck. Like, we're human beings for a reason. We are allowed to shed different sides of ourselves. We are allowed to even, that's why we keep exploring, because you are continuing to like learn more and more about you, and also just letting go of some things. And the funny thing about life is sometimes we think we have lost like a lot of things about us, but then it shows up in little glimpses in the future, like in our old age or something like that. It used to be like a witty or like a funny person or something, and then you reach a certain point in life that required you to be a bit more serious. Sometimes it may come up in some little whimsical moments and be like, oh yeah, I actually didn't lose everything about that era in my life, you know. It comes back at some point. Like, the things that stick will stick, you know. Sometimes they just need a little time to just shh, and then they come back, you know. In the wise words of Beyonce in Pretty Hearts, the last stanza, she says, I'm not gonna nikiimba hapa YouTube wataniambia later. So I'll just read the lines, and it says, when you're alone all by yourself and you're lying in your bed, reflection stares right into you. Are you happy with yourself? She didn't stop there, because why would she? She goes on to say, you stripped away the masquerade. And I love the choice of words masquerade, because masquerade is like, it's a mask that you wear when you're around other people. It's like this socially acceptable things that we have, that you're just like, oh no, I actually like this, I actually like that, you know, just so that you can be able to walk around and move around in society with ease. So when you strip away the masquerade, like when you come back to who you truly are, who is your, like, what is your bottom line, who are you really? You stripped away the masquerade. The illusion has been shed. Are you happy with yourself? I like that. The illusion has been shed. Like, there is nothing else, you know. There are no more at angles to look at and like cover up like your scars and stuff like that. When you come back to who you really are as a person, are you happy with yourself? And that is why I've said it previously in the video, that having a strong sense of self is something that is really important, because if you are not trusting, if you are not having a strong foundation in who you are as a person, you will get so easily carried away. You will end up playing, like, as in, you will end up really acting in this world, and it gets exhausting. It really gets exhausting. Always just feeling like, this is what the people want, this is what I'm going to do. When are you going to do what you actually want to do? When are you going to, like, take that chance and start what you need to start? There is a lot of fear when it comes to starting this, and it's not just the fear of being perceived. Of course, there are other factors for sure, but at the very least, make sure that it's not that fear of being perceived that is holding you back from doing what you want to do. Here's the thing, it is not 100% that you will finally, like, let go of it and be like, everything is great, I am strong, I am, like, that moment, like in Frozen, when what's her name, the girl, when she, like, does that whole walk and she's like, yeah, this is who I am, like, whatever, what are you gonna do? You may not necessarily have that moment, but even with that fear, do it scared. How many times do I show up online and I think to myself, wow, baby akiwa tu anafikirianga sijui ananionanga aje. That's for sure. But this is what sets my soul on fire. Just talking about things on camera, and, like, being able to make impact and being able to make people laugh and things like that. That is what makes my heart full, and I will show up despite, hey, I got chewed on the internet the other day. I got chewed despite the negative facts, and despite the negative parts of it, you still show up. So if you will forget everything in this video, just remember, this is what I'm trying to say. Please, whatever it is you have had in mind while watching this whole video, that thing that you have been thinking about, please give it a shot. Please give it a shot, because at the end of the day, no one cares the way you think they do. The number of times I have watched reality shows and had, like, very strong opinions about people, but the minute they moved out of my TV, I forgot about them because I have so many more things to think about. That is exactly how it is with other people. Please, yes, they will think of you, yes, they'll be like, wow, god damn, like, could it be me? But they will move on from that. And if you live your life according to just opinion, like fleeting thoughts, opinion is literally a fleeting thought of someone. Fleeting thoughts, that's what is going to determine the one life that you have. Oh, cha the ghetto. So at the end of the day, it is never that serious. We are all little specks on a floating rock. All right, take that home with you. Tafakari ya babu, tafakari ya bibi, I don't know.